I enjoy soda. I said no, but as long as you like it, welcome. Thank you so much. It's an honor. If ladies and gentlemen do not know Indigena, Colorado, is one of the elders of the indigenous community locally, and also along the Western Hemisphere. So it's an honor to have you here. Is that exit? Right. And that's 42. 5. As a matter of fact, this is going to be her sister, and her son's event on the 21st. So I'm just going to have that there in the meantime. So Jocelyn asked me to do this about a month or 2 months ago, right after I came back from Central America. And honestly, not an expert on Mayan culture, but I was like, no big deal. I've been in indigenous studies. I have a general knowledge of Mayan culture. I'll just read some books like I always want to do. And so I was completely wrong, of course. So I honestly give myself between a high school diploma and an associate on this, because it was not easy. It is not easy. No. It takes years because the comprehensiveness of my rest of my family. So I'll let you be the judge. Some of the information that I will share, I gathered at my most recent trip to Central America a few months ago. We'll go through some history, some geography, math, astrology, sociology, and the pop culture component. Hopefully I will not bore you too much, since I'm sure you have a lot of these classes here all day. And the distinction is that I will give you all of them for free. Not exactly free, just payment in time. Now, I'm sure many of you exasperated when I mentioned payment in time. You might have quickly transitioned your thoughts to the schedule. What you have to do next: study, work, phone calls, meetings, check your Facebook. Honestly, I was sketchy about mentioning the payment in time marks because of concern. I do have to use the application with time and priority. It is more important to invest in my time for my future, immediate, long-term, and the final outcome. Is there going to be a long-term plan for us? So many thoughts racing through my mind, but that is the truth. Many of us here live in New York City. Most of us, if not all of us, live in the super fast-paced, very busy, constantly rushing city. You think the Maya was so constrained by time? Do you? No. They weren't ruled by the time per se. They did not attempt to rule time either, as many feel they can do today. They move and often still move in sync with time, as the universal consciousness that flows through indigenous cultures to move in sync with Mother Nature, La Pachamama. A few soon ago, I went to the American Museum of Natural History with author Richard Rodriguez to see the sky, stars, planets, galaxies, and universe in their theater. Across the ceiling and consolidated into about 2 hours of time. Convenient for my quote-unquote busy schedule. Now, I do recommend this show, but this is a show where time is taken us. We often seek out and say we're going to lay under the sky and gaze at the stars. Now, this was and still is a daily ritual for many indigenous people, to the point of being able to tell you the time of day and the weather that is going to come. And when. I recently met a man from Oaxaca who has lived in the U.S. almost all of his life. His home and business in Coney was flooded by Hurricane Sandy. When I had to leave in the afternoon, we looked at the sky. We looked to the west and stated, happily, it's going to be an Indian summer tomorrow. And just as he has said, it was a warm and beautiful winter. The next day for about a week after. Nature is like so kind to us, you know. It could do great harm in an instant, but it can also care. As you know, like, there's still a lot of people without electricity, still. Some even with no running water. My friend Ito from Konya, he still has no electricity at the moment. And as I go and visit him, but he's still just tough under the wind. He's still trying stuff. It's impressive. Unfortunately, we have another Indian summer again, late in December, basically. When is he going to get to 2012? I will right now. We have little patience due to our time constraints often imposed upon us. We should not allow this. Understanding is a multifactorial and takes time. The world is not going to end on what the Gregorian calendar states is December 21st, 2012. Many Maya are pleased by this misinterpretation of their Mayan calendar and teachings. I remember a female Mayan chief elder speaking out against this corrupted prophecy at the annual Indigenous Forum in the United Nations. She stated how it is a commercialized interpretation to benefit a few people, mainly Europeans and Americans, to profit off. One of them is Dr. Kalaman. I'm not going to go into it, I want to give more attention. But with regard to Dr. Kalaman, he's an American, he did some studies, not really an expert, he's a lot of talk, and had asked for the approval of Movimiento, who is the actual expert of the Mayan lands, specifically in the area of Merida, southern Mexico. And since then, Dr. Kalaman has passed some years ago. Movimiento is still alive, I believe in his late 70s at the point. We'll still speak. So, you will never find documentation of Maya speaking of doomsday. In the documentation I will salvage from the Chilam Balam after this time was devastated so much documentation does state great changes in the planet, whether wise and in humanity, spiritually and on an individual and interactive basis. Let's make sure we couple them so we know and remember that they are both in one. Our actions affect the planet, and the planet's actions in response to our actions affect us. We are one, inseparable. We are one, inseparable. A modern day example is basically back in the last Khatun being a space of 20 years in the measurements of the Maya. That being like around 1992, there was an extreme polar shift in the polarity of the Earth to the point where the measurements of the aeronautics had to be readjusted because the planes they fly on the measurements of the polarity of the Earth. If these measurements had not been readjusted, there would have been severe accidents in the plane. In flight. Sean is going to be at this event right here. So be your son. He's going to speak on all those European and American convoluted folks who have brought us to this misperception. And another one that he's going to have that misperception. So to make you feel more at ease, I have some very strong evidence of why we're going to go into, or we're going to survive. I have here an actual Mayan calendar that I'm going to share with you. So it's going to 2013. Here, I got it on 116th. Calendar from Plaza Mexico, Mexiculture. So we're going to make it. Sorry, I really believed I was going to come up with something really The Neil deGrasse Tyson of the American Museum of Natural History, the African American expert, or the poet, Wild Zone. He states he's a great astrologist. I don't know if you've seen him on Channel 13 or whatnot. He states scientifically the misconceptions, basically. So with regards to the alignment of the planets, how it's gonna happen on December 21st. It states it is, but it happens every year on December 21st. And so then there's also this skepticalness about Nibiru, or some new planet that's gonna miscollide everything. And so he's done his research with regard to Nibiru, or I forget what the name of the planet is. And every time they reference Nibiru, there's a great conspiracy, a great theory about it colliding around 2012. He states that all the people who reference it and state that it's NASA reference, but they never mention exactly who from NASA, basically. So it actually doesn't contain like solid evidence. I have to put in here the flyer. The flyer that you is the flyer available tomorrow? Yeah. I glanced over this quickly. I'm not going to be a hater. I liked it, but I really didn't I didn't really read on it. I didn't see the calendar and stuff like that. But it just shows to say how wide the misinterpretation is on, and it's understandable whoever got it, because when I was looking for the pics for the PowerPoint presentation, when you put in Mayan calendar, all the calendars that come up are Aztec calendars, or better yet said, the sunstone, and which is not completely far or completely incorrect, basically, because it is relative. It is relative. It is relative to the Mayan calendar, and then go into that. Very, very, very relative. But of course, I'm glad, of course, predominantly folks of color, and especially folks from the Mexican heritage. But it's important to reach into your roots, because probably even your professors will teach you wrongly. I don't know who the professors are here, basically, but you have to search out for your culture and base, basically, to find the truth. The calendar, Merriam-Webster defines the calendar in 3 ways. The most applicable on here with regard to our considerations is a system for fixing the beginning, length, and divisions of time as weeks and months in a definite order. Here there is no mention of the sun or the moon, or seasons and their measurements, which were the basic origins in most cultures. Now, with regard to the Mayan calendar, I must clarify and say the Mayan calendar is in the plural. There is more than one, distinctly different from one another. And in fact, the central calendar, which has led the 2012 series, is a calendar within a calendar within a calendar, sort of like the hours in a day, in a week, in a year, etc. So, course, this is a more actualized Mayan calendar. It's beautiful because they put a zapatista in it. I don't know if Sean was the graphic art person, so he did that. So, beautiful. The Tolkien, Tolkain. There you go. Actualized version. Now with regard to the Mayan, but here the Mayan calendar is typical with varying cycles, circles to one another while working in sync, like the cassettes and bicycles, gears and cars, rotors or cogs in industrial machines. So here we have the 20 days in a month, eternal, all around. And the Tolkien calendar, one of the calendars. So here, each day has a name, of course, and an order. So the first day is An. Right here. An. It's pronounced like the A of father. So with Khan, that day goes for vigor, sensibility, judgment, and maturity. The second is Tikan. Knowledge, culture, erudition, wisdom. Kimin. Go ahead. Kimin. I thought I would start system better because it's something about time. Fourth is Manif, which is to pass, proceed, Lamat, there, penetrate, examine. So the beauty of this is basically that the Mayan, their movements, they move with the days, with reason, with guidance, and also not just in their movement.